Let's talk a little bit more about the Orioles after opening day. Our next guest, one of our favorites, an Orioles Hall of Famer. He is now part of the Baltimore Baseball Tonight crew on 105.7 The Fan. I actually saw him. I didn't get a chance to say hello because it was insanity over at Pickles yesterday, but I did see him wander in yesterday afternoon as I was hanging out with that gang. He is our friend, Mr. Mike Bordick, and he's with us now here on GCR. Mike, it's Glenn and Paul. It's always great to catch up with you, sir. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was crazy
Oh, my
down
God.
there yesterday, wasn't it?
My-
I mean, Pickle
my-
Pub was hopping.
So this is I'm starting my show on The Fan in 2 weeks, so I was like, I'm going to go over, be a good teammate, right? And I'm going to just say hello to everybody. And I had to, like, bribe 2 security guards just to get into the area. It was insanity. Chuck, who I love, Chuck walks over. He's like, hey, man, here's a wristband. Get some food, get some drinks. And I'm like, I'm never going to be able to get to a bar.
Like, all right. Yeah, no kidding.
Bedlam.
No,
Man.
it was good to see. It was good to see the crowd out there, the fans supporting the home team, and even better that the Orioles were able to give them a win.
Yeah, it was a fun day. It was obvious. It was a very fun day, and the sort of irony of it being a 2-0 game 30 years after the first game ever at Camden Yards. Everything about it was really neat. Hey, Mike, let's talk about what it is that you're watching for early on in the season, right? Like, Adley's not here yet. Grayson Rodriguez is not here yet. D.L. Hall's not here yet. I think whenever they get here, those are going to be the big storylines for this team this season. But until that point, what to you are the most interesting, most important storylines for the, besides them wanting to win games, for the players that are actually now on this roster?
Well, you always hope for really good pitching, right? And I think we're all kind of hoping for that young crop of players to come up. But I think what we should expect from this group of players is good, clean baseball. Now, listen, if the talent isn't there enough to compete, with some of the teams in the American League East, at least they should be able to know where to throw the baseball, understand situations better, not let the ball roll into the infield from the outfield, hit the cutoff man, that kind of stuff. I think that will help them win a few more ball games, but it will also set a precedent when the younger guys come up. This is how it's supposed to be in the big leagues. I am, and I'm sure a lot of other baseball fans are sick of the sloppiness in baseball in general. I don't know how many times you see a baseball just rolling around the infield. Nobody knows what to do with it, when to pick it up, where to throw it, when they even get it. So my hope is that Brandon Hyde and his coaching staff just continually pound in these fundamentals, situation baseball, and just play the game right, and better things are going to happen.
Do you sense, early on in the season, did you worry at all about Cedric Mullins pressing a little bit? Just coming off the season that he had a year ago, trying to prove, hey, that wasn't a fluke, this is who I am. And I know it was really nice to see him come through with a huge hit yesterday. But that first weekend, did you worry at all about maybe somebody putting too much on their shoulders because they're trying to prove that they are legitimately a star and that this wasn't maybe a one-season fluky type of thing?
Absolutely. That's part of the battle of being in the big leagues. You have some success, and then you, just human nature, put undue pressure on yourself. And a lot of times it comes from, obviously, outside sources, whether it be the media or coaches or other players, kind of pumping you up a little bit. And then all of a sudden you feel that pressure, like you've got to reproduce what you did. I mean, my gosh, Cedric Mullins, the only player in Oriole history to do what he did last year. I mean, he's probably not going to do it again. It would be great if he could. It would be incredible. But, I think he early on, even in spring training, just put a little bit of undue pressure on himself. And it's hard to play that way. Last year, he was so relaxed, so mentally just in tune with his own game, that it just kind of naturally and instinctively happened for him. And he will come back to that. I think his experiences last year, and knowing how to control himself mentally, he'll come back. I think that huge hit in front of his home crowd yesterday probably helped him immensely, just relax a little bit more at the plate and realize, hey, I'm just going to keep playing my game. I'm going to be the same type of player I was last year. And at the the end of the year, the numbers will be where they're supposed to be.
He is Mike Bordick. He's with us here on Glenn Clark Radio after the Orioles won an opening day yesterday. Mike, I feel like to me the most interesting storyline right now is trying to figure out if there's another, much like Cedric Mullins a year ago, which players maybe aren't we thinking about as centerpieces for the future that could end up establishing themselves as centerpieces for the years to come? And the guy that is honestly the most intriguing to me is Jorge Mateo, who I know has struck out a little bit to start the season, but man, you see so many things that he does. Obviously, his speed is insane. I don't know. He's a really intriguing player to me. What are you seeing in Jorge Mateo, and do you feel like he's the type that could sort of play his way into being part of the conversation or part of the solution for the Orioles as they move towards this rebuild coming to fruition?
Well, his athleticism stands out. It's amazing how athletic this kid is.
No doubt.
And I'm glad they're giving him a great opportunity at shortstop. I think this is the time to really, expose him there, whether good or bad. He had one miscue there in Tampa, I think, but he's got all the tools to play that position. He's got the great range. You could really put him anywhere on the baseball field, and I think he'll be successful. But they're looking for the blue chip shortstop, somebody that's going to find that consistency at that position, and somebody they can really anchor in there. Now, there's a whole slew of shortstops in the minor leagues that will one day be up at Camden Yards. But I think ultimately, if they can get somebody because Mateo's got to be as athletic or more so than any one of those guys, just the way he moves, his arm strength, his versatility as well. But they would love to pencil him in there and let him be a foundation piece up the middle. When Adley Rutschman gets here, they've got to create that backbone. Rutschman, obviously, behind the plate, got to have a strong center fielder, which they have in Mullins, and they're going to need a shortstop and second baseman. And then, you build around that. So Mateo could be that guy. I think you're exactly right. He is a super intriguing piece. Can he I think all young shortstops, Richie Martin obviously comes to mind, just the ability to have a consistent internal clock, the ability to balance out that speed of the ball, speed of the runner, know what you can and can't do, the ability to tighten up your pursuit angles on baseballs. Those are the type of things that Mateo's got to kind of clean up a little bit. Same holds true with a guy like Richie Martin, who I put right in the same athletic ability class. I think Mateo shows a little bit more as far as his defensive skill, and I think that's why he's the one getting the nod at shortstop right now. But, Austin Hayes is another player that, he's got an opportunity here to kind of step up and do kind of what Cedric Mullins did last year. And, of course, his whole key is the ability to stay healthy out there. He's got a big left field now to roam around in.
Shoo.
He's going to be able to kind of show off his athleticism, and the hope is it kind of stunk for him yesterday. He hit a couple bullets that got taken away from him. You hope that doesn't kind of wear on him a little bit mentally, but he's got just as much skill as Cedric Mullins, so who's to say he couldn't put up those same kind of numbers?
It seems like everybody was barreling the ball, but it was just getting there. Trey obviously was barreling the ball yesterday and had nothing to show for it.
Right.
Bordy, with that in mind, is there a pitcher that fits this group to you? And I bring it up because Zimmerman, of course, only went the 4 innings and, looked pretty good over the course of the 4 innings, put 5 guys on base, but found his way out of it without giving up a run. Is there a pitcher outside of John Means, of course, who we think we know everything there is to know about John Means, that you also look at and say, I still think this guy could be part of the long-term equation for the Orioles, and I'm paying a little more attention to what he's doing early on in this season?
Well, I think Zimmerman is one of those guys. Obviously, the way he threw his changeup, his confidence in that pitch yesterday was, much like John Means. And I think that's a plus pitch for him, staying aggressive in the strike zone. I think a lot of the young arms, Keegan Aiken, could be somebody that could potentially step in there as well, get some spot starts. I like him coming out of the bullpen right now. And I think a lot of these younger arms probably should be in the bullpen. I think it takes a little pressure off them. I think it's a great idea to potentially piggyback some of these starters. But Tyler Wells is the guy that is, he did a super job last year, I think, for the Orioles, out of the bullpen late in the game. He built up his confidence there. And now, just his size, and of course at one time he was a starter anyway. So to get him back with some of the weapons that he has and kind of build into a consistent starting arm, I think he is really attractive piece that could find himself a mainstay in the rotation for a number of years.
I think the two names as far as pitchers, and again, they're both in the bullpen, so I don't know, exactly what they could do, but boy, Baumann was throwing gas yesterday. I mean, just heaving the ball, right? And then, Batista's a little intriguing to me too, right? I'm not trying to oversell these things, Bordy. I hope you understand. I'm not trying to portray that these guys are suddenly going to be Grayson Rodriguez or DL Hall or something like that, but enough to, I think, be paying attention to the two of them and what it is they're doing early on in the season.
No, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, when young guys get a little bit of confidence, you never know where it can take them. My biggest fear is when young guys lose their confidence and trying to get it back at the major league level. That's a big-time concern. But when guys are feeling good, when they have success, there's huge carryover there. They believe they could do it, and they'll go out and typically have strong years. It was great that Baumann stepped up. He got the win yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah.
And Batista's throwing 100 miles an hour. So if he can harness that and stay in the strike zone, he'll have success. But yeah, there are a lot of great arms in the Oriole bullpen. There are arms that could be slotted in for long relief as well. So yeah, there's a lot to be, I think, excited about, especially some of the up-and-coming young players in the minor leagues. The fact that the Orioles have the #1 minor league system, in all of baseball, says a lot. It says a lot about what Mike Elias has done, going out, really getting into the international market as well. I think there are a lot of weapons there. Now, what he ultimately does with all these pieces,
right,
it's kind of going to be the question mark. Is he gonna all of a sudden kind of work like Tampa Bay does with the low payroll and just kind of keep mixing in, try to work, the free agent market, try to trade guys when their value's high to get back certain pieces, kind of follow the Tampa protocol? Or is he going to say, hey, let's do what Toronto has done and get these young guys up, and let those guys be our foundation, and then go out and land some monster free agents and try to compete in the East.
God, they're so exciting to watch, man. My God. We're not going to root for them because they're going to be coming to town, but it's hard to ignore how exciting of a team Toronto is. I feel like they're going to be a team that could get someone who's more casual interested in baseball when they're on national TV this season.
No, absolutely. I mean, they have, the right kind of superstars with that kind of swag. Obviously, Guerrero with the pedigree, all those guys. They all have fathers that played, and we're all great. Biggio, Bo, they're, all of them. So, yeah, they are a fun, young, exciting team to watch, and the fact that they had success last year bodes well for them to continue that success into this year. They landed a couple strong arms and helped their rotation. So I think the bullpen's obviously, with everybody, a question mark. Can they stay consistent? And do they have enough depth if a guy or two goes down? I think a lot of teams get tested in that regard as well.
Sure. Hey, Mike, the topic du jour for us today, there's going to be $1 billion+ spent on upgrading the stadiums downtown. You spent a lot of time at Camden Yards in your life. You have spent many a night at the ballpark. If you had one priority for upgrading a beautiful, what is still a model stadium within the sport of baseball, if you had one priority, they came to you and said, Mike Bordick, you get to choose any one thing we do to upgrade the stadium, what would be on your list?
Man, there isn't much I'd change other than maybe put a retractable roof that goes into the top of the warehouse.
It'd be really difficult to do. It would be so difficult to do. We were joking about like a biodome, putting the entire facility. Right? That's the problem, because like for the football stadium, I'm in complete agreement. I just think it's impossible for the baseball stadium. I don't think you can keep everything that we love about the facility and also put a roof over it. But I'm in agreement in general about the roof thing, man. Like, I feel like anymore you build a stadium, there's no reason not to have the option to have a roof on it.
Yeah, you know what I'd love to see, though, is not. I don't think they really have to do a lot to either one of those stadiums. I think they both offer so much, and I think they're both. The surroundings could be, impacted incredibly. They could make it more fan friendly, so people could walk around. They could put restaurants in.
Yep.
They could make it more like a Wrigleyville type of atmosphere, and I think, and I hope that's kind of what their goal is, their aim and goal, because they could really fix it up and make it beautiful.
That's been a popular opinion, and I think that is definitely part of the plans. All right, Mike, can I plug Baseball Warehouse? Anything you got going on for you?
Oh, please plug Baseball Warehouse. That's going strong, and it's exciting to see so many young kids starting the season. I threw out the first pitches for Sykesville, their baseball program, and Pikesville, their baseball program as well over the weekend. It was a little chilly, but it was great to see the enthusiasm from all the kids and all the parents. I really love that, and I love what they're doing to inspire our youth to play the great game of baseball. And the Baseball Warehouse was a part of that, so that was fun to be there. And also the League of Dreams, obviously giving special needs kids those great opportunities to play baseball and softball. We're always getting bigger and better and stronger there, helping more kids in our area, and we just hope to have more of an outreach. So thanks for letting me mention those, and always a pleasure to be on your show.
Appreciate you, my friend. At Bordick on Twitter, and, of course, Baltimore Baseball Tonight on The Fan. Mike Bordick, thank you for taking the time this morning. We'll chat with you again real soon, all right? It's Mike Bordick. We're checking in with him here on GCR.